Music Times Productions.
Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's #1 underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Apollo.
What's poppin', homie?
Anthony Smith killed another legend in Hamburg over the weekend.
What did I tell you his nickname was going to be changed to? What did I say? He is going to be Anthony, the legend killer Smith. God damn.
We're going to get into the UFC Hamburg talk, as well as PFL 4. That also went down last weekend. We're going to look ahead to UFC FOX 30 this weekend. And I really believe that the main card on UFC FOX is the best main card that UFC has ever given Fox since 2011, since this whole TV deal began with them. And it probably will go down in history as the best four-fight main card on Fox because, you know...
Is it like their way of saying goodbye? Like,
Maybe.
What you could have had if you gave us $4 billion.
Something like that. Plus, we have 4 big interviews. Bellator 202's Daniel Carey, Bellator 205's John Salter, UFC Lincoln's Bryan Barberena, and, of course, Chris Leben. But first, we appreciate all the love and support, guys, as usual. Whatever you're listening to us on, whether it's Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, or our website, didyousseethatshit.com, just keep on doing it and be sure to like and subscribe as well. If you want to take part in the show, shoot us an email at mike@didyousseethatshit.com.
And I am Chicago's #1 underground comic. So underground you don't even know who I am. Apollo Taj Mahal. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere at Apollo Taj Mahal. My Twitter is Apollo T Mahal. And you can find my man Mike Strauss at AKA Strauss on Twitter. He is bumping on Twitter right now.
Appreciate it. So, Apollo, PFL 4 went down. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the card, but man, our boys, Lance Palmer and Andre Harrison, they both looked really good in their victories, and they're both going to be moving on to the next round, as well as Francimar Barroso and Steven Siler. They both won in the main card as well. Also, we want to give a quick shout out to Kelvin Tiller, who's a friend of the show. He, once again, the Mama's Boy, looked fantastic.
Great fight.
All in all, man, it was another solid offering from PFL, but what is your big takeaway?
You know, I was watching that fight while getting massively turned hosting a show.
Which fight?
The PFL, the whole card.
Okay, the card.
I was watching the whole card.
Gotcha.
While I was getting turned, hosting an awesome show in Villa Park. My friend's open mic Jokes at Joe's. Go check it out at Josephine's. But I was hosting, and I was having a ball, and I got to watch the fights. And Lance Palmer has not lost a step. Man,
he looks great.
He looks amazing. And to think, man, I've been watching him forever. You know, a lot of the people I've been watching as long as I've been watching Lance Palmer are kind of not where they used to be. Mm-hmm. So to see him still finishing guys with submissions and going out there and being one of the best in the world is amazing. I love Andre Harrison. I think he is one of the best featherweights in the world. And I know I go against everything I say, but when it comes to a competition like this, I got worried because he doesn't finish guys the same way. Mm-hmm. He's a great fighter. He dominates. You know who he kind of reminds me of? He reminds me a lot of Antonio McKee, where he dominates everybody, but he's not exciting in that manner. And I don't personally care, but for a competition like this, I did think I wanted to see Andre Harrison really put it on the line and try to get more finishes.
I don't think it's going to really hurt him too much because, like he said in his post-fight interview, and he said even on our interview that we had before the fight, the name of the game is win in advance. And as long as you're winning your fights in the end of the day, even if you're going to a decision, chances are if you win both of your fights, you're going to make it into the next round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you're winning, you're probably going to make it. Now, do you have a better chance or will you have a better seeding? Sure, you would if you like Lance Palmer, someone that maybe did score a knockout or a submission. But as long as you're winning at the end of the day, I think you're going to make the final cut. And, man, Harrison is undefeated. No one's been able to crack that nut yet. And he's got to win over Lance Palmer.
And I think he can get that win again. He is just so dominant in every aspect of his game right now.
It's definitely looking like those two are the favorites in the featherweight division. But I'll tell you, man, Francimar Barroso, he looked fantastic. And then, of course, Kelvin Tiller, they both won. They're both heavyweights. And I was thinking, man, it'd be fun to see them fight. And then I thought, wait a second, we could really get to see them fight.
Yeah, that's what's even exciting. You know what I like?
One thing I really love about the
tournament.
PFL,
Yeah, and the tournament style is that the fights that we want to see, we're going to see. This is why I love Grand Prix. This is why I love tournaments, because
you can kind of see what's going to happen.
Exactly. And
Injury permitting, but yeah.
But if you see if a guy keeps winning, he's going to fight the next guy who's up, no matter about seeding, no matter about trash talk. We already see what's going on in the UFC. I love what's happening in the PFL.
And check this out. I don't know if you know this or not, Apollo. A lot of people that are fans of the PFL don't even realize this. A lot of media members don't even realize this. The next round of the PFL is going to feature 2 fights from each guy on the same night.
What?
Yes, sir.
Wait. Are we going old school?
Yep.
So 2 guys. 2 fights.
For each guy.
On the same night.
Yes. And then their goal is to do that on one night. And then on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day they'll crown the champions. That'll be,
Andre Harrison is going to be so tired.
Well, guys like Andre Harrison and Lance Palmer are built from this because they came from the wrestling world. So
man.
It's going to be fun to see how this takes shape. Speaking of wrestlers, man, Bellator's got a pretty good prospect on their hands, and Daniel "Scary" Carey. He was at Bellator 202 in Thackerville. He beat friend of the show Aaron Webb. Of course, Carey's now a friend of the show because we had a chance to speak with him. And here's our conversation with Daniel Carey. I want to welcome Daniel "Scary" Carey to the show for the very first time. He's coming off a very impressive performance at Bellator 202. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. Just training and trying to stay skinny.
I hear you, man. So let's start there at Thackerville, man. The weigh-ins, you looked a little drawn out, and I actually spoke to your opponent beforehand, and he said he looks really skinny. But, man, come fight night, you were hydrated very well, of course. None of that mattered. But how are your weight cuts, man? Because you are a very big 145-pounder.
The weight cut's never easy, but I walk around about 170, 175-ish, and I cut down to 45. And, it's not fun. I do dehydrate, but this cut was my easiest one so far.
And when I say big, I mean muscular. You're very muscular, not necessarily tall.
No, I know what you meant. Yeah. I know what you meant.
But, yeah, man, you're only 28 years old. You're 6-2 now. You're on a 3-fight win streak. What's next for you?
I'm hoping to be invited back to Bellator. I think they're coming back in, I want to say November. So odds are I'll be on that card. And, that's what I'm shooting for at the moment. And I got a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up. So I want to do that. And my wife, she's going to be competing in Vegas for Worlds. So I'm going to go out there and coach her. And that's also another big jiu-jitsu tournament. Those coming up.
That's very cool, man. So you enroll in jiu-jitsu tournaments to just kind of stay active and stay fresh, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's more of a hobby, like training in the gi and stuff, just so I stay, keep everything sharp. Because sometimes, it gets boring sparring all the time, so I try to focus on a different sport in between fights. So last fight, before I fought my second Bellator fight, I was really focused on boxing right before. This fight, I was really into jiu-jitsu because everybody's getting ready to go to Vegas and do Worlds. So I was training with my team, and that's what they were focusing on. So that's kind of what I was on. And it just, keeps everything kind of new and fresh for you.
For sure. Now, you're training at Conquer BJJ, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How is that? How's everything going?
Well, it's good. We go down to Dallas, Texas occasionally, just a few hours away, and get some sparring in with some guys up there. But for the most part, I do my whole camp, and I train full-time there. I'm also one of the coaches at Conquer BJJ in Ada, Oklahoma.
Very cool. So why did you decide to get into mixed martial arts?
Well, I did Muay Thai when I was 17, 16, and I used to live in California, and I had a bunch of smoker fights and a few amateur fights. I moved to Oklahoma, and there was nothing out here, nothing. So I took 5 years off, started training amateur Muay Thai again, had a few more fights, took a few more years off. And 2.5 years ago, I met Cortez Coleman. He opened up a school here. And my buddy talked me into going and train, and I did. And 8 months later, I had my first pro fight. I think I had one amateur MMA fight right before. But I have no amateur MMA experience. Before I met Cortez, I didn't even know how to shrimp. I didn't know anything on the ground. And then 8 months in, I had my first pro fight.
Wow. So fair to say that Cortez is kind of opened up a whole new world for you and taken your game to the next level then.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much built the game for me. I didn't have a coach in Muay Thai either. I went 13-3-1, and that's my amateur record. But it was me and a few friends learning stuff off YouTube. We thought we were cool. That was pretty much my training. But Yeah, due to him, I'm going pretty far. I'm learning a lot on the road. Or, as a pro, I didn't have that amateur career to learn mistakes and stuff. And that's why, I had losses kind of early on in my career.
Yeah, well, you're 6-2 now, man, and this featherweight division in Bellator is very interesting. Pitbull, of course, he just defended his title, although it was a questionable decision. But you got guys like Emmanuel Sanchez, who believe a lot of people believe he's the number one contender. But other than that, man, the featherweight division in Bellator, for a guy like you, man, you could really take this division by storm with a couple of wins. You could be right in the title contention. Have you thought about that?
No, I just take it one fight at a time. And yeah, I guess I didn't look at it as like a big picture type thing. Yeah, I feel all right. I definitely need to work on some stuff and a few more fights, and I think I'd be ready for, one of those contender spots for sure.
Yeah, well, you're definitely an exciting fighter, man. I mean, we spoke a little bit after the fight, and I said that the guy that you just defeated, Webb, he's a real heavy-handed guy, and you said everybody is at this level, and that's a very, very valid point. But your last victory against Chris Williams, that was a guy that a lot of people were really high on. He's kind of like a Chael Sonnen protege, but you dominated him, man. So the ceiling's got to be tremendously high for you. Bellator, without a doubt, should bring you back, and I'd really like to see him give you a top 10 guy in Bellator, because I think that you're right there, man.
Well, I do appreciate that. And with that Chris Williams fight, I got so much shit. Or I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to cuss on this, but
oh, it's all good, man.
I got so much stuff on the internet. People telling me I was gonna die, he was gonna kill me, all this other stuff. And like, we looked at his film, and I was like, man, I'm gonna break this kid. I didn't know where all that. I mean, he's a tough guy. I don't take anything away from him. He's been my toughest fight yet, but I thought it was a horrible matchup for him. I was very surprised that his team accepted that fight. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, he really didn't have much for you. He's a flashy guy, but fundamentals, technique, I think those things that you have, those things trump the flashy side of things every time, man, as we're seeing. But man, I want to thank you for taking some time with me, Dan, because I know that you're super busy, especially coming off that win with Worlds coming up. I always like to give you guys a few minutes here to shout at your sponsors, coaches, whatever you'd like, man.
All right. First off, I'd like to thank Jag. They're probably my number one sponsor, and they're all over my shorts. Ada Nissan, and then Peanut Gallery. Love you guys. My coach Cortez and my wife, and all my cornermen. You guys can look me up on social media. I'm pretty much Daniel, Scary, Carey, everywhere. So go ahead and hit me up.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate your time, Daniel. I can't wait to see what Bellator has for you next, man. You're super exciting. There's not many guys, I think, in the featherweight division right now that have a ceiling like you in Bellator, at least. So I can't wait, and love to have you back on before your next fight.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Take care, man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yep, you too.
All right, there you go.
I had no clue who he was before his fight, but man, he made me a fan.
Super good dude, man, and keep an eye out for him, because the Bellator featherweight division, there's a couple guys at the top that are there, but other than that, it's kind of wide open for a dude like him. So it's going to be fun.
I think he can take it over, especially with his wrestling.
Another dude making a comeback here real soon. Bryan Bam Bam Barberena had a couple of unfortunate injuries, but he's back. Got a tough draw, man. Jake Ellenberger, he's going to get the juggernaut here. UFC Lincoln. Jake is definitely not the fighter he used to be, although he's been training with TJ Dillashaw, Juan Archuleta, Cub Swanson, those guys at the new Train MMA. So it's kind of caught like a second win. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. We had a chance to speak with Bryan Barberena. It was a day before they announced this fight. So he, you could tell he wanted to say something, but he couldn't quite do it. And the next day he texted me and was like, hey, got fight news, but we'll talk after. But here's our conversation. I want to welcome back Bryan Bam Bam Barberena to the show. 170-pounder. Supposed to fight at Fight Night 131, but that fell through. But he's back, and he is ready to go. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Things are good.
That's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. How's the injury going? I know that's behind you now. You're working your way back. Is Bam Bam almost ready?
Yeah, the injury's good. All healed up. Finally cleared by the doctor and everything, ready to go. So I'm actually in the works trying to get scheduled right now.
Your first fight back, would you prefer a short notice kind of deal, or would you want a full camp to get you back in the swing of things?
Honestly, I'd prefer a camp, just because I'm right now I'm still, I'm getting ready to, training. I haven't been back to training, real hard or anything that long, because, I just got cleared and everything. So, a camp would be nice just to build back into it and get back in fight shape and totally ready for the fight and everything. So I prefer a camp.
Now, how long have you been cleared? Like, I guess a better way to put it would, how long have you been going harder, like your normal practice?
How long has it been? Maybe like a month and a half, maybe.
Oh, okay. So you've been going at it for quite a while now, for the whole summer, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Very cool.
Start of summer.
Now, I saw that a little while ago when Leon Edwards fought, I saw on social media you had commented because the commentators were saying that no one was really able to out-wrestle him before, and I was thinking, wait a second, Barberena dominated him on the ground that round, and you actually commented on that post too, saying, well, I did. What did you think of Edwards' performance? Because honestly, man, I wasn't all that impressed.
They had mentioned like, oh, he's never tasted the canvas and stuff, which is untrue. I mean, maybe he beat me, in a decision, but I dropped him. Didn't almost finish him, didn't finish. He stuck in there, which was good by him. Tough guy. But yeah, he got dropped. Tasted the canvas, man. That's what I said in the comments. It was just like, hey, the fact is he has tasted the canvas. So, but yeah, his performance, he did good. I think. He did what he needed to. I was surprised he didn't wrestle more, honestly. With me, it's like he didn't even want to stand up with me. He just kept shooting. And, he stood up for a little bit, but just a couple punches there and then shoot. For me, I wanted to stand up. I wanted to strike. I wanted to, put on an exciting fight for the fans, and it felt like he just wanted to hug me. So it kind of made it less exciting and wasn't really a great fight for the fans. So I was kind of disappointed about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I recall correctly, too, that third round, man, it was you were going for it, and he didn't want any part of it. I mean, you tried to get back to the feet, you looked really good, and then he just wanted to take it back down. He was, I don't want to say scared, but he tasted your power, and he wanted no part of that towards the end of that fight. That's for sure, man. But that's good news that you're almost ready to go again, man, because I think you are an exciting fighter, man, and you're, I don't want to say a dark horse, but you're one of those guys that can truly beat anybody on any given day, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like that. I feel like I can, be right there with the best and, win those fights. So, whoever they match me up against, I'm hoping to, prove my worth for sure and put on an exciting fight for the fans. I'm not here to try to be like Conor McGregor like everybody else is or anything, man. I'm just going in there and I want to fight. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to put on a fight, and I'm going to put on a show for everybody. So I'm not so much worried about talking and doing all this stupid shenanigans to make some media or whatever. I'm going to go there and I'm going to fight, and people are going to remember that because I put on a show.
You always do, man. How was your 4th of July?
Oh, it was great. I'm actually been training at Jim O's in North Carolina, so been going over there, getting some training in, some great guys, great team over there, great coach, Jeff. So I've been getting in some work with him. And dude, I mean, we moved to the South, so we live in Tennessee now. And when we happened to be over there in North Carolina for 4th of July, my family came out, and we spent the 4th of July over there with the guys and went to a fireworks show. Man, the fireworks show was ridiculous. It was like the whole thing was like a finale.
Really?
But for like 40 minutes, man, it was like they take their fireworks serious over here.
Yeah, it's weird now that you mentioned that, man. I've had the good fortune, I guess you could say, to be in a few different states to celebrate 4th of July. And you're right, man. Some states, it seems like the South, really, they go all out, man. It's pretty remarkable. But yeah, man, the 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays. It's just all about family, relaxing. I know last time we spoke, you were really enjoying the new home, the new move, the ranch. How is all that, man? Have you got a chance to go out and hunt and enjoy the summer?
The ranch life is great, man. I love it. Actually, it's I think it's the best move we've made, and a great thing for our family and everything. The whole family's enjoying it. The kids are enjoying it. I've never hunted before. It's something I definitely want to try, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I've been building fences to put cattle in, taking care of our animals, building shelters for our new animals and stuff. We have chickens, turkeys, some cows. We have our dogs and cats and stuff like that too. So we're just looking to spread that. A big project has been our garden. We have a pretty big garden that we're working on, and have fruit and vegetables growing now. So that's really exciting. And it's just it's a lot of work, and I don't think farmers get near enough credit for everything they do, and for the lack thereof money they get either for everything. And it's a lot of work, but I enjoy it. I love it. And I think he will also help me get ready for fights as well.
Yeah, no doubt. That's where I was going to go with that, because you're right, man. The way that you're doing it, if you can, that's the way to go, man. To raise your own animals, to look after them, to have your own garden. That's truly the way to go if you can. So my hat's off to you, dude. That's fantastic. And you're right. Farmers have what's called farmer strength. And
Yeah.
it's just from doing these monotonous jobs on a daily basis. But I wanted to ask you, you are a guy that is in fantastic shape. You're a professional fighter, but did you even have a little bit of soreness your first couple of weeks tending to all your property?
Actually, yeah. I was pretty sore. Just in different places too. Different places that you don't really hit in training, or or normally get worked out. It's just like putting up fencing and stuff. Just certain muscles got sore, and it's just those different muscles and joints and everything that you start feeling things in is just crazy, just from doing this little thing like putting up fencing all day. I think, you just put these posts in and do all this. Well, it takes a lot longer than that to begin with, and then you're just sore afterwards just from all the work, and you don't realize it at the time till later that afternoon when you're starting to relax.
Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love, that is for sure, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's a very important day for you, so thank you so much for squeezing me in, man. I always like to give you guys time at the end of the show to shout out your sponsors, your teammates, whatever you'd like, man.
Everybody can follow me, Bryan_Barberena on Instagram, Twitter, and then on Facebook I have my Bryan Barberena fan page. You guys can give me a follow on that. I want to thank Jimmo's in North Carolina for the training and everything, and all the hospitality they give me, all the guys down there for the training and work. The MMA Lab, of course, all the guys over there, and I look forward to going back over there and getting some training in and being with those guys again. Really miss those guys. My family, number one. Family's number one always. Always have my back, and they're my biggest supporters and always there for me. So I love you guys. Gold Club Canine Group. If you guys got dogs, you go check them out. They got great stuff for your dogs, help their health and help them get to be the best that they can be as dogs, and spoil them with it. That's pretty much it. But also I'd like to say, I'm trying to get on this September 15th fight in Russia. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have some fight news soon. There's one fight that fight card might be a little bit earlier that I'll try to get on. But for now, it's shooting for Russia. If the other one comes through, then it comes through. If not, then the goal is to try to get on the Russia card, but we'll see.
Well, I can't wait, man. I know whatever card you end up fighting on, you're going to bring your A game. You always do, Bryan. Thank you for your time, Bryan. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Today's a special day for you, so enjoy it, man.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man.
All right, there you go.
He seems so excited, like it was like the day before Christmas, but he couldn't tell us what he got.
UFC Hamburg. That delivered, man, on pretty much every account. Anthony Smith. He destroyed another legend. He TKO'd Shogun 1 minute and 29 seconds of round 1. Did you watch this fight?
I did watch this fight. I actually got a chance to watch the entire card, which is very shocking for me because a lot of times I'll miss some and I'll have to go back and watch the fights. But I watched the entire card, and Anthony Lionheart Smith, actually, let's change that. Anthony Legend Killer Smith, he is very humble and doesn't like to talk a lot of trash. I appreciate that. But dang, this dude used to be a middleweight?
Yeah, I don't know how we used to do that.
I don't either, man. I think I said it a few episodes back before this fight was announced that there's a chance that Shogun could fight for a title again. Well, that's done. I'm sorry, Shogun is never fighting for a title again. And I think Anthony Smith has a clear shot to the title.
Well, the thing that I liked about it is afterwards, everybody knew that Gus needed an opponent for 227, and he got right there and said, "Hey, I'll see you in LA." And then, right after or right before, I forget which it was, but Gus pulled out because he had a minor injury. And, Anthony Smith did not hold any punches. He said, that's rather coincidental, isn't it? So, I'll reach out to Anthony Smith, try to get him back on the show. But definitely, man, this kid is he is something to watch out for, because at 205 pounds, he's like a old school attitude mixed with new breed talent. So it's going to be interesting. How about Corey Anderson, man? He humped Glover Teixeira for 15 minutes. And, that's all I really want to say about that.
You get a win, you get a win. Corey Anderson started popping off on Twitter talking about he deserves a title shot, too.
I don't think so.
No,
and then DC said, "Oh, yeah, I think you do, too, more so than
Gustafson.
Than Gustafson." Yeah, okay. That's a way easier fight also,
Well,
DC.
I think DC is just wanting to butcher Gustafson. It's also the only thing DC and John Jones get along doing, is butchering Gustafson.
Elsewhere on the Hamburg card, Abu Azaitar, he got a unanimous decision over Vitor Miranda. Marcin Tybura, he got a unanimous decision against Stefan Struve. Danny Roberts got a split decision against David Zawada. And that was about it for the main card, man.
Yeah, it was a fun card. That last fight really brought the card together.
Yeah, I mean, there was times throughout the entire night of fights that were okay, but all in all, I thought it was...
It's not going to be no what we're about to get,
UFC FOX 30 that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Man. That's stacked.
If I put this card together a year ago, you would think this would be pay-per-view.
Another really solid card that's coming together, man. Bellator 205. We're going to get the rematch that never happened. John Salter against Rafael Lovato. That is going to go down. We had a chance to speak with John Salter, and a very cool guy. So it's going to be a great fight between him and Lovato. I can't wait. But here's a conversation with Salter. I want to welcome John Salter to the show for the very first time. What's going on, man?
Just got done training, head home for a little break before I go back. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Any day above ground's a good day, right?
That's right.
Well, John, I wanted to talk to you, man, because I'm based out of Chicago here, and you were supposed to have a fight at last time Bellator was here. You're supposed to fight Lovato. That fight fell through last minute. I just kind of wanted to catch up and see what's going on.
Yeah, I was ready to go. I failed my eye test for the Illinois Athletic Commission. I've had 18 professional fights, 7 amateur fights, never had an issue. Always passed eye tests. My vision hasn't gotten worse. Illinois just changed their standards. I actually fought in Illinois before, and they failed me. And I got told while I was training the day before I was getting on the plane, I had people calling me like crazy, asking me why I backed out. I didn't know what was going on. Looked online, and MMA Junkie had already released a story that I was off the card. So I had to get in touch and find out what was going on. But yeah, the commission took me off before I got a chance to get up there.
Yeah, man, as we're seeing, the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations, they're the people that oversee the Illinois Athletic Commission. They're not doing very good. I don't know if you're paying attention to what happened with the PFL card, just happened last week here in Chicago, but there was 3 instances where that same commission dropped the ball. So, yeah, man, Illinois is not doing a very good job. You did not pull out of the fight. That was not of your doing. That was just an unfortunate situation, man, because I really think that you and Lovato, you would have put on a fantastic show.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, obviously I was real mad about it right away, but, there's nobody to be mad at except the commission, and I don't know who there, is making these decisions, but, I'm over it, but like you said, this is affecting people's lives. Every fight affects somebody's life. This is our career, and I hate it, and that was a fight that I think I had the best game plan I ever had going in. I was really excited about, and, Lovato's a stud, so I feel like we were going to put on a really good show that was going to be exciting for all the fans.
Well, hopefully that's something that Bellator can figure out and run back at a future date. Has Bellator, have they offered you anything in the way of any fights coming up here?
No, nothing yet. I'm hoping to get something lined up as soon as possible. Like I said, I had to have an eye surgery to correct the problem, but no injuries or anything, just 2 weeks out after eye surgery. And I've been back to training, staying in shape the whole time. So I'm ready to go whenever something, pops up. But honestly, right now, I think Lovato's in Europe doing seminars and getting ready for a jiu-jitsu tournament. So I think there's only 2 fights that really make sense for me right now. And that's either the ex-champ Carvalho or the fight that I really want and I think will be the best fight for Bellator right now is Machida. I think we put on a good show, and it'll show the strength of Bellator when we bring over a former UFC champ and put him against me, and really show how strong the divisions here in Bellator are.
Funny you bring up Machida, man, because that's where I was. That's where I was going to go. Obviously, that's a huge signing for Bellator. He fights in the middleweight division. There's plans, I guess, for him to fight at light heavyweight, but middleweight. I think there's better fights for him, as you mentioned. I mean, you're a guy that's 15-3. You're on a 7-fight win streak, and most people, including Lovato, will agree that you are the number one guy, the number one person in that division. So you would think that makes sense for you and Machida. That's the fight you want, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been the guy that should be getting the title shot for 2 years now. I went out there against Halsey. Halsey's a tough guy. He was the champ and ran through everybody minus one body kick from Carvalho, and I beat the brakes off of him and never got hit, and then subbed him. So I think that showed right there. I was the guy that needs to be fighting Carvalho. I don't think anybody has any question. Manhoff is a legend in the sport. I've got a ton of respect for him. But I don't think anybody really has a legitimate question of whether or not I'm going to sub him in the first round or not, And he gets two title shots during that. And then we put our Alessio Sakara in, which I get it. He's a big draw in Italy. And again, a guy that I've got respect for because he's done big things, especially the best fighter out of his country. But again, that's a guy that I don't really see on my level. So that whole time, I think I would have done exactly what Masasi did to Carvalho. So I thought I was the guy that needs to be taking that fight. But I fight anybody that's offered to me. I'm not turning down fights. I'm not trying to be a diva about things. So I'm ready for anybody. But I feel like I've earned my due, that I'm at the point where I should get to pick who I want, as long as I'm picking legitimate guys. And I think the fight with Machida is the fight for me right now. He's a stud. He's a legend in the sport. Everybody's got tons of respect for him. But, I'm the kind of guy that can give him a lot of trouble. I can really change up what I'm doing. He's got to worry about my hands. He's got to worry about my kicks. And obviously, if I put somebody on the ground, I'm going to finish him. So it's a good fight. It's going to be something that's exciting, and, the action's not going to stop.
And I got to say, that makes a lot of sense, man. Let me ask you, though. Gerald Harris is a guy that's back in the fold. He stepped in for you against Lovato. Didn't fare very well. I mean, to be fair, he did step in on short notice and whatnot and fought out of his division. You and him have some history. Is that a fight that maybe after Harris gets a few more wins under his belt, is that a fight that you may want to reconsider?
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to Harris a few times since we fought. He's a real nice guy. But I took that fight on 6 days' notice. I was sitting with my girlfriend at the time, current wife, watching a movie, drinking Mountain Dew, eating popcorn, and my coach calls and said, "Hey, do you want to fight in the UFC in 6 days?" This is the time when I'm about less than 2 years into doing MMA and nothing but a wrestler. And I go out there, I win the first round. Second round's pretty close, and the third round I was so gassed, I just told myself, I got to take him down. If I don't take him down, it's over. I took him down, and he just kind of pushed me. I was so tired, I fell over, and he TKO'd me. He's a good fighter. There's nothing against him, but that was at a different time in my career. I'd had 4 fights. He had 20-something fights, and I took it on 6 days' notice. So, he just proved a couple weeks ago how much that short notice affects things. And, I'd be one I'd like to get back and fight him again, but that's not who I got my eyes set on right now, because I want to fight fights that move me up in the world rankings right now.
Now, you're only 33 years old, man. You're really entering that prime, that sweet spot of your career. Do you feel like you're just entering your prime right now?
Absolutely. I really think with my striking, I'm just now getting to where, now I've been striking for 11 years, and so I feel like that culmination of 11 years of striking is really coming out now. When I spar with people come in to train with me and Derek Brunson from all over, and I really feel confident in my striking right now. I've always got my wrestling, and I think too many wrestlers stop wrestling and just strike, and I've never done that. So my wrestling's still really strong, and I'm always working to be the best, best in the world at jiu-jitsu. I'm looking to compete in ADCCs again this next year. So or 2 years from now. So, I really feel like everything's coming together now, and I'm as well-rounded as anybody in the 185 division.
Let me ask you, when they're going to have an event in August in South Dakota, would it be early for you?
I'd love to, especially South Dakota, for 2 reasons. I'm ready to go in August. I'm ready to go right now. I'm cardioing all the time to make sure I'm ready to go whenever something's offered. But I've never been up there to North Dakota, so that would be amazing to go. And I think like I said, I'm ready to go anytime, and I think that'd be something good for the fans up there to show them how strong the middleweight division can be with the guys that are in it now.
For sure. Before I let you go, man, what are your thoughts on the announcement of the welterweight Grand Prix?
I think that's going to be awesome. I think we're really getting back into the days of the Pride days, and I don't think there's more MMA fans now, but the people that have been MMA fans for a long time, there's nothing more exciting than a Grand Prix and Pride, and I think that Bellator is doing a great job of marketing and making that something that people are more excited to watch than anything else right now.
You're right about that, man. I've been a big fan of what Bellator is doing, and you're right, man. Those Grand Prix are harking back to the Pride days, and it's something that us diehards, we truly appreciate. I thank you for your time, John. I know that you're super busy with your training. I truly believe you're one of the best in the world. I can't wait for you to get back out there. The floor is yours, man. If you'd like to shout your sponsors, your training partners, anything you'd like.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I want to thank Natural Healthy Concepts for keeping me healthy all the time, and Phalanx for keeping me looking good while I'm out there training, Greenland Clean for all the food. And if you're ever in Wilmington, one place to train, come check out Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. All
right. Well, I appreciate your time, John, and hopefully Bellator will get you out there sooner rather than later, and we'll talk again before your next fight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Take care, John.
Man, I can't wait to see that fight.
Something you wanted to talk about, man, the Contender series. Nick Newell, he lost to Alex Munoz via unanimous decision.
So I want to just say this real quick. Everybody who's sitting there continuously saying he's an inspiration, he's an inspiration, he's an inspiration. Yes, he is. But I'm tired of saying that for the one simple fact, he's a fighter. And he went out there and he fought and he lost to a better guy. But he is still a top guy. And I think he'll come back. And hopefully he gets another chance, because I think we need to start treating this man more like a fighter and less like, somebody that we should pity.
Well, I feel the same way that I've always felt about Nick Newell, and that is that he is an average fighter, but, hear me out. I guess I'll have to explain my position.
Yeah, explain.
So here he is. If you look up and down his record, you will only recognize one person on it, okay?
Justin Gaethje. And
it's a loss. Second round, he got KO'd via punch. Other than that, I'm being honest here. I'm being liberal. I know a lot of fighters, man. Yeah. I didn't recognize a single one.
Yeah.
And that's my number one point is he's fought cans. Number 2 point is you even saw it against a very good fighter the other night in Alex Munoz, right?
He's no
good
joke.
Fighter. He's an alpha male. He's the coach. He's the wrestling coach. He's a very good, solid fighter, Alex Munoz, who could very easily be in the UFC and be one of those top 25 guys.
Did he get a contract?
No. But this is my point. You could tell how he was hesitant at times, because even watching Nick Newell fight, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. It doesn't feel right. And imagine if you're that guy. Imagine if you're that guy fighting him. Hey, he's just a fighter. He's going there to take my head off. But at the same time, he's got one hand. That's fucking weird. That fucks with your head.
I feel, the only person I saw really pull the trigger on him was Justin Gaethje.
But go back and watch that fight. Those first 3 minutes, he wasn't Justin Gaethje. Yeah. And he's a murderer. I'm telling you, a lot of it. First off, he's fought cans. Those are his only wins, okay?
Yeah.
Second off, you saw what happens when he's in there with top-level guys. He can compete.
Yeah.
I do not think he's a UFC quality fighter. I never have. Listen, he's a regional champion. I always said he'd be a good Bellator draw.
Great Bellator
He's
draw.
something like that. But listen, he's not a UFC. It's a great story, okay? I'm not looking at him like he's a guy with one arm, like you said. I'm looking at him as a fighter. I do not think he is a UFC quality fighter. If you can just blur out from the upper part of his body and just look at his feet, look at his movement. He is an awkward, herky-jerky. Do you know why he threw so many flying knees? Because he can't throw a proper punch. Because try to throw a punch with one arm.
Yeah.
He has no balance.
I think he would be a great draw in Bellator. I'm happy he got an opportunity, because he proved himself, even though he fought cans.
I'm happy he got an opportunity.
He got an opportunity.
All of his fans that ride his jock so much that say this guy should be world champion could shut the fuck up.
I don't think he should be world champion. We've seen him.
He cannot be world champion.
He cannot be world champion.
He's not that good. Regardless, I'm not a hater.
No,
he just can't do it.
One of the best wrestlers I ever saw in my life was a one-legged dude,
right,
who was just whooping butt, and I think he went to Missouri. That dude,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that dude was a
actually.
beast.
I think he was transitioning into
until he got fitted for his prostate. Until he got fitted for his prosthetic, he was actually going to transition to fighting.
Seems like this episode is about comebacks or second chances. Chris Leben is on his way back, and we had a chance to speak with him. Here's our conversation with the Crippler. I want to welcome back to the show Chris the Crippler Leben. Hey, brother, last time I talked to you, I asked you if there was going to be a Crippler comeback, and you were pretty sure there wasn't going to be, but here we are a few months later, and you're back, huh?
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Definitely is, man. I mean, the Bare Knuckle Boxing Federation, the first event, it was damn right entertaining, man. And I'm telling you and Phil Baroni, that's going to be a war.
Yeah, it's a perfect matchup for me, so I'm real excited about the fight.
I was going to say, was that something, Chris, that was this something that was in the works for a while, or did this just kind of come out of the blue?
Well, my coming back has been in the works for a while. I got the go-ahead from my doctor a year ago, but then I wanted to just take another year to make sure that, my heart was doing even better. And I got a checkup 2 Tuesdays ago. It's even better now. So, I'm 100%. I mean, fighting is what I do. I'm in a gym coaching full time, training every day, every one of my days off. I've been in the gym. I've been training. I've been working out, and I just miss it, man. I love going out there. I love putting on a show. I love entertaining people. So it's exciting for me to get to do that opportunity, especially in a venue like this. Like, wait, you're telling me this guy's got to stand in front of me? It's a small ring, and we just slug it out? Like, it's perfect. I feel like the sport was designed for the way I fight.
Yeah, it really is, man. And, you're right. This is a perfect opponent for you, man, because he's going to stand in front of you, and he's going to bang with you, and no one can stand and hang with Leben's left hand. So it's going to not end well for Phil, right?
That's what I'm banking on. I know, don't get me wrong. He's a good guy. I know he's going to come in shape. I watched his last fight recently here at King of the Cage. He's still got some fast hands. He's still real dangerous, especially right out the gate, So there will be some game plan involved, and then I want to go out there and I want to perform well. Nobody wants to have make their big comeback, so I'm gonna put the work in the gym. I'm training hard now. I've got 12 weeks and 2 days until this event, so I got lots of time, and I'm going to go in there the best Chris Leben anybody's ever seen.
For sure. And you're right, man. The last thing to go is power, and Phil still very much has that. So you're right. You're right there. Man, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I know that it's still a couple days away, but you're going to be turning 38, huh?
38 years old on Saturday. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
It's a trip, man. Life is a trip, wasn't that many years ago. I wasn't sure I was going to make it, and here I am training for a fight on my 38th birthday. But hey, look at DC. He just turned 39, right? Won the heavyweight title.
And you never looked better, right?
And never looked better. That's it.
I hear you, man. I'm right there. I'll be 38 next month, so I'm in the same boat as you. We got families now, so just a different world. But I think you might have the cutest baby in the entire world, though.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think every parent thinks their baby's the cutest baby in the world. But my baby's pretty fucking cute.
I definitely will concede that. I mean, my kids are cute, but you got me beat there. So, man, the sober life, 3 years, I think I saw that you put. How you must feel incredible.
I do. I feel great. And it's just every day is a blessing. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of work. I'm very highly involved in recovery. That's important for me because I can get caught up in life real quick and pull away. So, but you trade a little bit. I don't have those amazing, exciting nights. I got a girl and a baby at home, so sometimes my nights are a little bit boring. But I'll tell you what, my mornings sure as hell a lot better.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I mean, people think taking care of kids is not much of a job, but it's harder than any job I've ever had, right?
Man, everybody's, they tell you, it's absolutely, it's the greatest thing ever. I love it to death. But yeah, there's definitely a level of, work and anxiety. You know, there's this life that depends on you, you know, and it's your job. You know, I can't like go to jail. I got to go to work and make sure that I, you know, provide and do the responsible things parents are supposed to do. So that hopefully my kid, you know, has a better life than I did, and, you know, goes, you know, hopefully he's like college bound or something. You know, that's kind of my goal.
I hear you, man. That's what it's all about. We all want, you know, our kids to do better and set them up better than we were.
Absolutely.
Going back to the Phil fight, man, do you guys know, is it going to be fought at a certain weight? Do you know where it's going to be at yet?
205.
Okay, awesome. Was that something that you wanted to put in there, or was that, because I know Phil's probably the bigger guy, right?
You know, he's not. I mean, he's not tall. He was never tall even for 85.
Okay.
In the UFC, he's definitely got some muscles. You know, he's got that bodybuilder frame. But, you know, 205 is fine for me. You know, I'm walking around about 220 right now, 225.
Not going to be too difficult.
Yeah, it won't be too difficult. 85 would be hard. 85 would be, you know, it's been several years since I made 85. Wasn't easy for me, you know, 4 years ago. So first fight back, 85 would be extremely difficult, and I feel like I would be shorting myself trying to get down to that weight. I'd rather just go in there feeling good, plenty of energy, healthy.
Yeah, you're right, man. 205 is going to be better for you. We're seeing this now, right? When guys, they move up in weight, and like it's a whole new career, a whole new fighter we're seeing. So I think 205 is going to be really good for you, man, because if anything, you're going to be carrying more power, right?
That's what I'm banking on. I mean, I feel better, you know, honestly, when I'm trying to make 85, once I break below about 210, my body just doesn't feel as good. You know, the fat is so low, the joints aren't lubricated, injuries happen a lot more. You're training on no food. You can't train as hard. All that. There's all that, you know, not to mention, you know, it's hard on your body. Cutting the water weight is not the healthiest thing in the world. So it's like, look, we both, me and him have both fought at 85. You know, now we're fighting at 205. I think it's better for both of us.
It's going to be an awesome time, man. I can't tell you how excited I am. When I saw that you put out that Instagram with you signing the contract, I was overjoyed, man. I mean, you're one of my top 3 favorite fighters of all time. You're just super entertaining. You're a good dude, man, and I'm just so happy for you, and I can't wait for October 20th, Chris.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I always like to give you guys a few minutes to shout out sponsors, coaches, whatever you'd like, man.
You know, I just a shout out to my gym. If anybody who wants to, you know, come train with me, it's the Arena, San Diego, California. And then, hey, my book is still out there. So if you want to go on Amazon and buy my book, that's awesome too. Absolutely.
That's a great read too. So I recommend everybody to do so. I appreciate your time, Chris, man. You've always been good to me. Best of luck to you. And maybe we'll touch again before the fight in October.
Let's do it. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your day,
All
man.
right.
All right, there you go.
Why does it seem so right for him to be in bare knuckle fighting?
Man, I can't wait. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be at 205 pounds, as he's told you there, and I'm stoked, man. So UFC FOX 30 goes down. Man, this is going to be a fantastic lineup of fights. We're going to give our picks and preview just the main card here, the 4-fight main card. Headlining it, man, is Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier in their rematch. Cut all the bullshit. I like Dustin Poirier.
I'm going with Dustin Poirier in this fight, but my gut wants to go with Eddie Alvarez. I'm very torn, but I have to go with Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier, we saw in the first beginning of the fight, until he got caught by Eddie Alvarez, he was catching Eddie Alvarez. And, man, that fight was a hell of a freaking roller coaster. So I'm going with Dustin Poirier. I think he has a lot more in the tank right now.
Yeah, it was a great fight. You know, I don't think Eddie Alvarez is nearly the fighter that he used to be at one point. I don't question his heart, but maybe his desire. Dustin Poirier has continually impressed me and just looked better and better each and every fight. And I think that he is hungrier and he's younger, and I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier, man. How about Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stephens in the co-main event? I cannot believe I'm going against Jose Aldo here. I'm going Jeremy Stephens.
I'm going to sound really crazy. I'm going Jeremy Stephens as well. I'm sorry, Jose Aldo isn't the same man anymore. 13 seconds getting knocked out, and then getting knocked out twice by Max Holloway. Mm-hmm. The only fight he really showed that he could be a resemblance of his older self was against Frankie Edgar. And, man, he just has Frankie's number.
Yeah, this to me isn't more so about what I think about Jose Aldo, because I think he's the unquestioned best ever featherweight to ever do it, right?
Yeah.
As of right now. And I think he still can beat probably 8 out of the top 10 guys.
He's a top 3 guy.
I just believe that what Jeremy Stevens has been able to do and how he's been able to reinvent himself, it's remarkable. He's never looked better, and I think he's destined for gold, and I think he's gonna get Josie. I think. How about Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Tisha Torres? Man, I gotta go with my girl Joanna Champion.
I don't call her Joanna Champion anymore, but I'm going to go with Joanna. She's going to eat this girl alive. We saw her bounce back incredibly in a very close fight against Rose. Even though I thought Rose won it, doesn't really matter. It was a very close fight, and Joanna did look like her old self in those later rounds. And, man, if she can look like that against this girl, she's going to eat this girl alive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Joanna's going to win, but I don't know if she's going to be as lopsided as you think, because Tisha Torres, she looked phenomenal. You know, even though she lost against Jessica Andrade, she looked fantastic, man. I mean, she's another fighter that is just continually better and better and being able to reinvent herself. And here she is all these years later, and she's never looked better. But it's, again, more so just what I think about Joanna and how highly I think of her. I think Joanna is just going to get the job done because, as you mentioned, in the fight with her last fight with Rose, I do agree with you. I think she lost, but she looked great. You know, sometimes fighters just have your number. How about Alexander Hernandez? This kid stormed UFC and wrecked Beneil Dariush in his debut. He's fighting Oliver Aubin-Mercier. I like the kid, man. I like Alexander the Great Hernandez to win this fight.
Have we agreed on every fight?
I do believe.
I'm going with Alexander Hernandez as well because he scared the living daylights out of me when he fought. I honestly tweeted at him and said, listen, I'm going to say nothing but nice things about you because you are the scariest man alive right now. He is frightening, and he is a beast.
He definitely is, man. And Oliver Aubin-Mercier, he is a very good, solid fighter. This, wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if OAM won the fight. I just think this Alexander Hernandez, I really like his mental game, too. He's almost kind of spooky. He reminds me a little bit of Rory, how Rory used to be when he talks.
That's what scares me, when he's very just calm and demeanor, like he's going to murder somebody.
So that's the 4-fight main card, man, and those are our picks. It's a really solid card through and through. We want to shout out also a couple of friends of the show, or rather 3 friends of the show that are fighting on the undercard: Austin Arnett, Dustin Ortiz, and Devin Powell.
Man, this card is amazing.
Did you turn the oven off?